Imagine being kidnapped and locked inside a basement by a mysterious stranger. There are no phones, no windows, and nobody knows where you are. You have almost no chance of getting out. But then an old black telephone on the wall suddenly starts ringing. There's just one problem. The phone isn't connected to anything. And when the boy answers it, he hears the voice of children who were kidnapped before him. They are dead, but somehow they are calling to help him escape. This is the terrifying story of the black phone. The story takes place in a quiet American neighborhood in the late 1970s. Our main character is a teenage boy named Finney Blake. Finney is intelligent, quiet, and generally keeps to himself. Unfortunately, being quiet doesn't protect him from trouble. At school, Finney is bullied by other students. He tries to avoid fighting, but one person who always stood up for him is his sister Gwen. Gwen is almost the complete opposite of Finney. She is confident, outspoken, and fiercely protective of her brother. The two siblings are especially close because their home life isn't easy. Their father struggles with his own problems, so Finney and Gwen often depend on each other. But while Finney is dealing with school problems, something much more frightening is happening in the neighborhood. Children are disappearing. At first, people think the disappearances are unrelated, but as more children vanish, the community begins to panic. Rumors spread about a mysterious man who drives a black van. Police investigate, but they can't find enough evidence to identify the kidnapper. Then one day, Finney's ordinary life suddenly comes to an end. While walking home, he encounters a strange man. The man appears friendly at first, but something about him feels wrong. Before Finney can walk away, the stranger abducted him. When Finney wakes up, he discovers that he is locked inside a basement. There is no mattress on the floor, a few objects scattered around, and an old black telephone attached to the wall. Finney immediately begins looking for a way out. He checks the doors. He examines the wall. He searches anything that could help him escape. But there seems to be no way out. Then his captor appears. The man is known as the Grabber. He is strange and unpredictable. Instead of behaving like an ordinary criminal, he treats the situation almost like a game. He leaves Finney alone in the basement and tells him that escaping won't be easy. Finney is terrified. He has no idea where he is, and nobody knows where to look for him. Outside, Gwen quickly realized that something had happened to her brother, but Gwen has something unusual that would help. She sometimes has strange dreams, and some of these dreams appears to contain clues about the missing children. She begins trying to remember everything she has seen. Meanwhile, Finney is still trapped. He looks at the black telephone. It appears completely useless. There is no visible connection, but then it rings. Finney freezes. Slowly, he picks up. The receiver on the other end is the voice of a boy that tells Finney that he was also kidnapped by the Grabber. But there is something Finney doesn't understand. The boy is dead. Finney realizes that the cell phone is somehow allowing him to communicate with the previous victim. And these children have something important to tell him. They know the basement, they know the Grabber, and they know the mistake that cost them their lives. One by one, the voice begins giving Finney advice. One tells him about possible escape routes. Another gives him an idea about something hidden inside the basement. Another warns him about the Grabber's strange behavior. For the first time since his kidnapping, Finney has hope, but escaping isn't going to be easy. The Grabber is unpredictable. Sometimes he behaves calmly, other times he behaves suddenly becoming threatening. Finney begins studying him carefully. He realizes that the Grabber likes games and follows strange rules, and if Finney can understand those rules, he may be able to use them against him. The phone rings again. Another victim speaks to Finney. Each calls give him another piece of information. Finney starts putting the clues together. He searches the basement again, this time with a completely different mindset. Instead of simply looking for a door, he begins looking for opportunities. He examines the walls, he studies the floors, he looks at every object in the room. Slowly, the fighting boy begins becoming more resourceful. Outside, Gwen is doing everything she can to find him. Her dream continues giving her strange images. She sees location, she remembers details, and she becomes convinced that her visions are connected to Finney's disappearance. At first, the adults didn't know whether to believe her, but Gwen refused to give up. She keeps following the clues. Back in the basement, Finney refused another phone call. At this time, the voice belongs to Robin, one of the previous victims. Robin was different from Finney. He was confident and wasn't afraid to stand up for himself. Robin tells Finney something important. If Finney waits for someone else to save him, he may never escape. Finney has to save himself. Those words change him. Finney has spent most of his life trying to avoid conflict, but now he understood that being afraid doesn't mean he has to surrender. He began building a plan. The other victims continued helping him. They didn't give him a magical solution. Instead, they gave him knowledge. They showed him what they learned too late. And Finney uses every lesson. He began preparing for the moment when the grabber comes back. But eventually, the door opens and the grabber returns. Finney knows he has to be careful. One wrong move could destroy his chance. The tension becomes unbearable. But this time, Finney isn't completely helpless. He has a plan. He has studied the basement. He has listened to the voices. And he knows that this might be his only opportunity. Meanwhile, when investigation finally starts leading the police towards the truth, her dreams contain enough information to help them narrow down the location. They began searching for the house where Finney could be held, but Finney couldn't depend on them arriving in time. He has to act. The final confrontation begins. The boy entered the basement, frightened and uncertain has changed. Finney now understands the environment around him. He knows what the grabber expects him to do, and he knows what his only chance is to do something unexpected. Using everything he has learned from the previous victim, Finney finally manages to turn the situation around. He escaped the basement at almost the same time when the police finally reached the house. After everything Finney has endured, the nightmare is finally coming to an end. But Finney isn't the same person anymore. The experience has changed him. At the beginning of the movie, he was shy and afraid of confrontation. By the end, he learned to trust himself. And perhaps most importantly, he discovered that courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is continuing to fight even when you are terrified. The black telephone is also much more than just a creepy object. It represents Finney's connection to the children who came before him. They couldn't escape, but their knowledge gives Finney the opportunity to survive. Their unfinished stories help him finish his own, and that's what makes The Black Phone such an effective thriller. It's not just about a mysterious kidnapper, it's about a frightened boy being forced into a situation where he must discover his own strength. It's about a sister who refused to stop searching. It's about victims whose experience ultimately help someone else survive. Finney doesn't escape because he was stronger than everyone else. He escaped because he listened, he learned, he adapted, and most importantly, he refused to give up. So if you were trapped in that basement and the disconnected telephone suddenly started ringing, what would you answer it? That was The Black Phone. What do you think about The Black Phone? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy movie reviews, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Inspire TV, turn on notifications so you never miss another upload. Thank you.